Hello, this is King going for Zoology, doing my slide presentation in a recording because unfortunately free internet on planes isn't exactly a thing. Alright, let's get started I suppose. So, what are Potoo birds and where can we find them? Potoo birds are a nocturnal family of birds called Nyctidae. They are found exclusively in Central and South America, all over actually. They live in a wide range of climates, going from the desert areas to the rainforest to even the wetlands on the very edge there. So, very impressive. They're closely related to the nightjars family, as well as frogmouths, which are a small family of birds native to Australia. They're pretty much just like Patoos, but they get free healthcare over there. So, now, while they're only living in America right now, we actually have fossil evidence of them in Germany. They discovered a fossil in a scene. I forget the name of it. They had a name for that specific fossil as well, but they deducted from the skeletal structure it had a lot of the same functions and adaptations that modern Patoos do now. So, interestingly enough, even more widespread than we thought. Now, this is the family. So there are currently 7 species that have been identified and separated. Interestingly enough, it took until pretty recently, actually, 2016, the common and the northern Potoo were actually considered to be the same species, but they got separated because they look almost, not even almost, they look physically identical to each other. So scientists really didn't have any reason to investigate further on that one until now, I suppose. So the only way to really tell them apart, kind of in the fields, outside of things like the Rufous Potoo being very red or the giant Potoo being absolutely huge, the best way to tell them apart in the field is by their different calls. I'm sure you've heard many of their calls online and videos. They're all actually very distinct. The common Potoo actually has a very very horrifying, what's called horrifying one. The Great Potoo, I believe, has a call that's just so sad that they gave it a nickname. I believe it's the Pour Me One Bird as well, just because it sounds so sad. So, what makes Patoos specifically special? These birds have developed a lot of really cool adaptations in their time on Earth, but not as many as a lot of other creatures have. Their adaptations not only function as helping them catch prey, but also function in them defending themselves and warding off predators as well. So we're going to cover those real quick. First off, their defensive behaviors. So as they're nocturnal, they usually rest or kind of stay very warily awake. They don't fly during the day. They tend to stay perched on a tree stump or a tree branch. And this actually helps with their camouflage. As you can see, their feathers are actually really well suited. So if you look through a lot of pictures of them being camouflaged, it's really quite accurate. It's really cool. So if they detect danger, they will kind of freeze and just act like a tree stump. But if that doesn't work and they still see this threat approaching them, they have a couple things they can do. Now, Patoos are one of the many creatures that have slits in their eyelids, so they can actually still see while their eyes are closed. And it's not very well, it's very blurry, but they can still stay very alert while they're trying to sleep. So if the camo isn't working, they'll either keep trying to camouflage and hope he goes away, or they can choose to fly away. And another thing we've observed them do a lot is they will open their eyes all the way and start puffing up their feathers to appear bigger, spread out the wings, all that. And this is actually a great example of startle coloration, because in all of the two species, their eyes are quite unnatural, unnerving to us, but also, interestingly enough, unnerving in nature, as that bright yellow in the eyes for the common and northern Potoo are actually known as uncommon colors in nature, if you believe it, as far as animals go. And for the great Potoos, they have pure black orbs, but either way, very startling to any creature who tries to see that. So, how do they hunt? Their eyes double function. They're very, very large. As you can see, it's their defining feature. So they're not only specialized in coloration, but they're also very, very impressive in how they function. Along with their large wings and tails that helps them control better in the air, which makes them perfect night hunters. So starting with the mouths are ear to ear, or almost ear to ear, very, very large. They have bright coloration inside their mouths, and we think this helps attract insects and draws them towards their mouth as they come swooping down. For Potoo birds, they don't chew their food, they actually swallow it whole, no matter what it is, despite having a pseudo-tooth, and their upper mandible has a protrusion that helps them grab and keep on to prey. For their eyes are very, very large, which actually has some useful innate function. It provides longer distance between the lens and the retina, and it helps their eyes absorb more light and focus better in low light conditions. And along with that, they also have large retinas to go with it, which also helps with their visual acuity and keeping focused on their prey when it's in motion. Interestingly enough, unlike a lot of other animals that hunt, especially in the rainforest, using their ears or using a very keen sense of smell, currently we think that Potoo birds only use their eyes for hunting, which is really interesting. But how are they maternally? They actually are pretty good from what I've looked up. So Potoo birds are monogamous, meaning that they have one partner per egg cycle, and both parents will partake an active role in feeding and protecting the young. Potoos usually lay an egg in a tree stump, or a tree perch where they already perch naturally. They usually only lay one, which helps because it's pretty cramped up there, I would imagine. But they also don't use any nesting or bedding material. They just lay it right there, as we can kind of see the picture down at the bottom. The eggs take usually about a month to hatch, and then a month or so after that, the hatchling is ready to leave and go off on their own. So, why are Potoos important? Well, first off, and one of the reasons I love them so much is they are a great example of convergent evolution. Convergent evolution is where, as you all know this, but briefly explain, it's when two or more species develop very similarly, whether that be in terms of physical appearance or adaptive traits and ecological niche, despite being not or very distantly related to each other. It actually defines it as being raised in different biomes or ecological time periods. So, Potoos and frogmouths, while often compared to owls, and rightly so, they're actually not related really at all. They're more related to hummingbirds, more closely related than to owls, actually. But they are both night hunters, they both use their large eyes, they both very similarly swoop down to grab their prey. They both have, I believe, they are both silent flyers, or relatively silent flyers, as well as filling the same ecological niche. They also lack traits like the owl's facial disc, which kind of goes to show how similar but how different they are. So, general importance of predators. Patoos act as a major predator of insects in the environment. Their major feasting is insects, particularly flying ones, because it's easy for them. So I'm sure if anyone's seen videos of or been to rainforests or seen the Everglades, very important to control those bug populations. It is absolutely insane out there. But a diverse range of predators is important for any ecosystem to thrive. They help in reducing prey populations, preventing spread of disease by eating and sick prey animals. They prevent erosion along with scavengers, and they reduce competition among different prey species that kind of let them thrive in their own right. Now, why did I choose Patoos to go over? just look at them. Honestly, just look at them. I love them so much. My little scrungly little guy, I love them. Just there has never been a picture of a Potoo that hasn't set me absolutely cackling. Getting photos for this for this project was I honestly couldn't handle it. A couple points. It's like I need to find a good looking picture for the 7 different kinds. No, there are no good looking pictures. Um, Over the years, they have gained quite the reputation. I'm sure you've seen a lot of YouTube shorts or TikToks just going over, look at this scary bird, or this bird is too unreal to believe, or look at the ghost bird, which is another very common name they go by. So, but I personally think they're very cute. I know a lot of people that think they're absolutely grotesque and just hate them, but you have to admit, with them around, I think the world's a lot more interesting. But, so thank you so much. That's going to be my presentation. Hopefully everyone has a great class and had a great lab this Wednesday. And I will hopefully be seeing y'all next week. Alright, have a good one, everyone.